Hello everyone. Today I am here to present part 4 of chapter 3 of class 12th Business Studies Business Environment. So we have covered demonetization in the previous part of this chapter. So today I'll be covering the government policy or the new economic policy 1991 in this video. You can find the links of my previous videos in the description box below. Before I go forward, like always, I would like to request to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Let us first understand what is the new economic policy 1991. So this was the policy which was brought in by the former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1991 in the month of July. This was known as the new economic policy because it brought in huge economic reforms. So this policy was brought in with an aim to correct the distortion and the weakness of the industrial structure of our country that has been developed over a period of 4 decades. So this policy majorly aimed at raising industrial efficiency to the international level, and also it was about to accelerate the industrial growth. It is about to do all these things through the LPG model. So this LPG stands for liberalization, privatization and globalization. Liberalization means making our licensing system more liberal. That means removing all the barriers, all the restrictions in the licensing system. Privatization was meant to increase the role of private sector and decreasing the role of public sector at the same time. Globalization referred to encouraging foreign private participation in the industrial development of the country. Understand the aims, objectives of new economic policy. The very first aim was to boost or to plunge Indian economy where the whole world is becoming a global village, to bring down the inflation rate. That means decrease in rate of inflation will lead to improved economic performance, and it will also increase the investments in the economy. To move towards higher economic growth rate. This means higher economic indices like higher GDP, higher per capita income. To build sufficient foreign exchange reserves. This means competitive exports in the market, and also this will bring confidence to the investors, as this is the reserve which can be utilized at the time of any financial crisis to pay international debts, to achieve economic stability. So this is the very aim, to achieve economic growth and stability, to convert the economy into a market economy by removing all kind of unnecessary restrictions. That means bringing more opportunities into the market, and in turn inviting players into the market. So that will again help to let the economy grow and develop. To permit the international flow of goods and services, capital, human resources, and technology without many restrictions. That means allowing other countries to come to India and business. So that means it will definitely let the flow of goods, services, capital, human resources and technology to come into our country, and that will definitely in turn brings opportunities and change in living standards for our country. To increase the participation of private players in all the sectors of the economy. That means decreasing the role of PSU, public sector undertaking, and increasing the role of private players, so that the resources can be utilized in the areas which are with PSUs, like atomic energy, defense, health, etc. To become self-reliant and set up a strong industrial base with emphasis on heavy and basic industries. So one of the major aim was to improve heavy and basic industries, because this is definitely the base for all other industries like iron and steel, coal, etc. to reduce inequalities of income and wealth. More of opportunities, more of participation of private players in the market will definitely reduce these inequalities or disparities of income and wealth. To reduce unemployment and poverty, economic growth will definitely lead to a reduction in unemployment and poverty. So these were the major aims which our new economic policy was framed to achieve. Let us now understand the elements of new economic policy. The first one is liberalization. So liberalization means freeing the Indian business and industry from all unnecessary controls and restrictions. This means removing all the barriers, all the restrictions which were there, because of which the participation of private players was restricted. So after the liberalization was brought in, the participation increased because they were freed from all these restrictions. So how has that been possible? By abolishing licensing requirements in most of the industries except a short list. So that list included atomic energy, railway operations, arms and ammunitions, defense, mineral oils, mining industry. So this was the list which was held by the public sector, and the rest of the things, the licensing was abolished. Freedom in deciding the scale of business activities, that is, no restriction on expansion and contraction of business activities. So previously it was not allowed, it was not permissible to expand the operations of business without legal permissions. So all these barriers were removed after liberalization. Removal of restriction on movements of goods and services. There were strict restrictions over the movement of different goods and services between different states. So this was absolutely removed. Freedom in fixing the prices of goods and services. So government took control to some extent in fixing the prices of goods and services in the economy before this policy came into action. So after that, this restriction was also removed. Reduction in tax rates and lifting of unnecessary controls over the economy. So because the tax rates reduced, the prices of the goods also reduced, and that increases the production and supply in the market, and that helped the industries to grow. Simplifying the procedures for imports and exports. So now it is definitely possible for different industries to indulge themselves into foreign trade because the procedures were simplified, making it easier to attract foreign capital and technology to India, because the foreign business is now promoted. By simplifying the procedures, it is now easier to make foreign investments and like go for collaboration with different multinationals. So that has also encouraged the technology and the foreign capital to flow to our country. After liberalization, we will understand what is privatization. In simple words, privatization means the transfer of a business, industry, or a service from public to private ownership and control. Let us understand the definition of privatization. It means giving greater role to the private sector in the nation building process and reducing the role of public sector. So basically here a lot of industries which were under the public sector undertaking were now open for the private ownership. So government has done this through a process called disinvestment. Let me just explain what is disinvestment in very simple words. During that time, lot of public sector enterprises were under control of government, and many of them were not performing well, and they were causing huge revenue losses to the government. So this misfunctioning and lack of revenue made the government take the decision that these units should be sold to the private sector, and in turn the funds so generated will be utilized for the development of other industries in the public sector undertaking. which were atomic energy, railway operation, arm and ammunition, defense, and like few more. So now let us read what is written on your screen. Disinvestment means transferring the public sector enterprise to the private sector. It results in dilution of stake of the government in the public enterprise. If this process if in this process private sector acquires more than 51% of shares, it results in the transfer of ownership and management of the enterprise to the private sector. So there are few benefits of disinvestment. That is why it was like put into action. It allowed these PSUs to raise capital to fund their expansion plans and improve resource allocation in the economy. It also enabled the government to stimulate the economy while resorting to less debts in the market. Also, it has led to the improvement of efficiency of these enterprises which were not working efficiently before private ownership. When government disinvest a good part of its stakes to the private enterprise or public at large, it increases the accountability of the management of that enterprise, and which will have beneficial effect on the efficient working of that enterprise in the later time. Another thing government did was setting up of Board of Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, which was known as BIFR. It was set up to revive or close the sick units in public sector enterprises. When I'm speaking about sick units, I'm speaking about those units which are not performing well, like those which we had just spoken about. So BIFR has certain objectives. What were those objectives? Like efficient delivery of services through all these units, timely detection of any kind of sickness if it is there, speedy revival of viable sick industrial companies, quick winding up of non-viable sick industrial companies if they are not producing any revenues, if they are not working as per the plans, and later on reduction of these this kind of industrial sickness so that it can give an industrial growth to our economy. Third major element is globalization. So what is globalization? Globalization is actually a connection of different parts of the world resulting in the expansion of international culture, economic and political activities. So it is basically the movement and integration of goods and people among different countries. So let's see what is there on your screen. Globalization means integrating the various economies of the world, leading towards the emergence of a cohesive global economy. So globalization basically aims at making this world a smaller place where the movement of goods, movement of people, movement of technology becomes easier and so accessible. Till 1991, the Government of India had followed a policy of strictly regulating imports in terms of value and volume. So, before the new economic policy of 1991, there were strict rules relating to the volume and the value of trade. So, these regulations were basically related to the licensing of import, the tariff restrictions, and also quantitative restrictions also. So when new economic policy came in, so they aimed at two different categories of reforms. The first was trade liberalization. When we speak about trade liberalization, so it aimed at liberalization of imports and also uh, simplifying the export procedures and also reducing the tariffs and also changing the tariff structures. Another reform which was included in new economic policy was in respect to the foreign exchange, so that the country does not remain isolated from rest of the world. So foreign exchange, it was something which is now accessible to different industries, to different people across the economy, so that they can um, do international trade with ease. Let us now understand the different benefits of globalization. The life we are actually living today is one of the benefits of globalization. We have access to technology, we have access to international products, we have improved our living standards. The level of interaction we have across the globe is definitely a result of globalization. So let's read. Globalization involves an increased level of interaction and interdependence among the various nations of global economy. So, a true global economy implies a boundary-less world where there are some features of a truly global economy where there is free flow of goods and services across nation, where there is free flow of capital across nation, free flow of information and technology, free movement of people across borders. So these are all the benchmarks we have already met till date. So this was the initiative which was actually brought in to make our economy grow and reach the level where it has actually reached till date. So we have reached the end of this video. Next topics of the same chapter will be covered in the forthcoming video. I'm sure my content, my data has been useful to all of you. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Have a very good day ahead.